Peace and blessings, family. Sister Anjali, I don't know if the sound quality is all right, so I'm gonna just play a copyright-free video and go and check out the details. So I'll be back as soon as I find out if the volume's okay. If not, then I won't start talking until it is when it clears up. Let's get on over there. Is that if this all right? There we go. Yes. I don't know if the Yes, it's fine. I can talk. Oh my goodness, what a joy. All right, let me come back over, leave the very nice waterfall, very, very lovely. But we have stuff to do and say. So I am so grateful to Allah and use the name of the Creator that you have been divinely guided to embrace. I'm so grateful He made this planet so magnificent that we could look at it and see that it don't care about what the white man say or do just to get the very seasons reoccurring each and every single year for all the beautiful fauna and flora, the life forms to continue in the cycle as he has instilled in their very DNA to get done. And we have a life cycle. Let me make sure that, yep, everything, because I heard myself. So there we go. Greetings to anyone who's joining this, even afterwards. I announced it earlier, which is a good thing, but I haven't done a live in a very long time. And I do notice that they're ever more intensely shadow banning my presence on all social media platforms. I know as soon as I join up with a new platform, the story is always the same. I will be just scurried or squirreled into just given the enormity of what I'm sharing. And I run across a whole new saying, doom scrolling. And these different channels, I'm grateful for them giving details on, the economy, the housing market, the AI. I find all the horrible stuff happening with AI absolutely fascinating. And, just what's going on in China. I'm very grateful to them. But except for the China videos, and they are also so narrowly just projected out where they definitely Voice of America has given them all a script. And yet the other ones that aren't about China, they tend to talk about topics that aren't on our dinner plates, which is the radiation. And in the general news, especially over at Daily Mail, they'll just go over the forever chemicals and Dr. She is the one who let me know, because it was a good sister who I encountered on Instagram who would go over different, she was a kind of a truth teller. I don't want to get into any more because I'm always leery when someone with an innate curiosity, I tell them about Fukushima and they give me a very patent deflection. And so she had said, well, what about the plastics? There's a plastic island. Dr. She said to me, right, he's like, plastic is inert. And this is why we need a whole nation investigating and researching the details of man-made radiation, because I'm just one person. I can't think of everything. And I'm okay. I do all well in the, facilities up here. But at the same time, I'm only one person. So when he said it's inert, I was like, duh, yeah. That just means that it stays right where it is. The plastic doesn't degrade for centuries. And you don't have a Geiger counter that's going to be able to tell you where the raccoon or whatever stole your garbage bag. It doesn't put off energy. I usually have my energy background, but I just don't feel like it being that busy right now. But man-made radiation puts off the highest level of energy of everything on our planet. There is nothing as volatile as it is on a one atom basis. So that it's putting out waves that if all those atoms were collected together, well, Fukushima, when it exploded and the cores melted down through the floor, through the concrete floor, it was clocked at hotter than the surface of the sun. The sun is 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, and the radiation collectively is hotter. And it's in our planet, and it has so many different properties, and I could just keep on going with it when that's not the sum total of why I'm here. And it's worrisome to me because like the doom scrolling, these folks will be getting thousands, tens of thousands of views over topics that really do affect our lives. The rent is through the roof. Yes, indeed it is. That's affecting all of us. The mortgages are through the roof. On top of that, the new constructions are made of paper. Literally, you have walls almost made of just nothing but cardboard. And the shoddy, workmanship is legendary already, where you have beer bottles from the, working crew in between the walls because they're just getting drunk on the job, right? So these are real things. But in having studied the trajectory, the timeline of the explosion of Fukushima from 3/11/11, I'm one day late, but it's not like it's a celebration. It's not like it's something where I'm going to be like, oh, wow, goody. I might get some views tomorrow if I do an anniversary show about 3/11/11. Fukushima. No, that's a horror. I'm just saying with the, like the doom scrolling, and I support them. I'm glad they're there because, I quickly run out of things that I'm curious about and I have to move on. Right. I'm glad they're there with some real information because I can't do the trending stuff. That bores me to pieces. Oh my God. If you like it, I'm not, but I don't know what you're doing here because I'm not that type of I don't have that kind of content. But I'm just saying something that's on our plate, something that we're feeding to our children. And children are the most susceptible to radiological contamination, and the trajectory of what's going on in terms of how it is affecting their bodies. Oh my goodness, let me go on over to this. Which one am I on? Okay, I want to go to that one right there. Okay. Every single day, I go on over here to, this is Grimm's reading. I never thought that I would be going to check out the obituaries. Every single day, if they're, available, I go and I look because why? I'm checking patterns. I am viewing changes in the population, not because I'm morbid, but because I'm trying to save you. It almost makes it difficult for me to say that because I'm like, who the heck am I? I'm just regular folk like you. But Allah put it in me that I just have a natural understanding of radiation that sometimes even is deeper than my ability to get in all of these 6-syllable words that they use to describe it. But that's what I'm here for. And as long as I'm the only one, I'm the most effective source for information on how this is affecting Black us specifically. I'm the best source. So that's why I come here, so that I can see those patterns. And on here, this is Parent Heart Watch. Is crazy. I see, because I've been going here for, I don't know, like 5-6 years now, every day. I can tell when there's an increase in the amount of something that should never be happening. It's happening so much where children are dropping dead from heart attacks. You would think everybody was born 60 years old. And no one is talking about this as if it's, like there's some crazy increase, because I will read these articles, all right? Really heartbreaking. Community grieves sudden death of Fresno high school student, right? This one, 12-year-old IE soccer player dies during practice. And I've explained the reason why these things happen. As I was saying, the children will absorb more radiation, because if your body is depleted in nutrients, these isotopes, which they're in a released form from every single nuclear facility on the planet, they are unprecedented on our planet. Your body does not know how corrosively caustic, volatile they are. And a lot of them will imitate the same features as nutrients. And so you got strontium 90, the bone seeker, they call it, which imitates calcium, which will cause a lot of leukemias, especially in the young. And, cesium 137, that's the sucker that's lodging in a lot of these children's hearts, because it imitates potassium. Potassium is utilized by your heart muscle more than any other organ in your body. You will absorb far more potassium, even though potassium is necessary all over the body. But these dudes have lied. They lied during the explosion of Fukushima and said, oh no, it's like what's in a banana. Ain't nobody wearing hazmat suits picking bananas out of a banana grove. There's a difference between potassium, I think is potassium 40 in bananas, which is a extremely low emitting isotope that your body is built to recognize, use what it needs, and if it gets too much, it off-gases the extra. Not strontium 90, not cesium 137. It doesn't know what the hell these things are. Because the only place where these radioactive nuclides are just out and about are in supernovas. There is no steady body, planetary body, that can withstand the force of radioactive hell. And definitely not an organic body, especially a young one seeking nutrients, that is even athletic. This reverses all of our original assumptions about how the body works. You would think, oh, they're having heart attacks. They should be like 200 pounds by age 13 or something. But no, these are healthy young people. When people 12 years old die like that, they're supposed to be in-depth investigations. They're not a damn one. When I go and I read these articles, like they're also like here, Ohio bill would work to prevent cardiac arrests in young athletes. I went to the source of this article and read the whole thing. Not a word was mentioned about, isn't this unusual that now we have schools out there that are legislating or following legislation from their state governments to have defibrillators inside the school nursing office. I never in my life going to public school, went to the nurse's office, and then, what's that? What's that, Mrs. Green? Oh, honey, that's a defibrillator in case just, you know how children always having heart attacks all of a sudden. Yuck, 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 yuck. That never happened. It's happening now. And I told you about it long before the vaccine. People were like, oh, no, it's the vaccine. No, it's not. I had shares on my old channel like 3 years before anything about COVID. I was the one who was saying that the World Health Organization, let me go on back on over here, because that's what I went there for. Right there we go. The World Health Organization held a seminar, or they announced there's going to be a super pandemic. It was like 2 years before the outbreak of Corona. They were even holding global summits. What do we do? How the hell do you predict something that's going to just naturally arise unless you're all collaborating? And that's what this is sort of about, with Iran threatening to drone bomb California. Really? California? Why that state? Why not say, oh, DC, we coming for you, Trump? No, they're going all the way over to California. And I said, hot dang, I wish people would be listening to what I'm sharing. Because these things have patterns. We're dealing with collaborating, conspiracy fact devils who know what they've done to our planet. And I know initially it's like hard to listen to the details about radiation. I'm not mad at anybody who didn't believe me or thought that I was a little on the nutty side or said things like, well, she's just a housewife. She's so cute. She's so sweet. But yeah, she don't know what she's talking about. Every single day, everything I predicted is coming to the floor. Right? It's that simple. So there was a brother, and I don't even, oh, peace, beloved, constant, woo. Hi, is there something we could do daily to detox the radiation? Daggone right, yes, there is. I had showed a screen capture I had gotten from a Russian doctor, Dr. Yuri Bandashevsky. I'm always bringing him up. And I'm bringing him up now because there are good people out there trying to tell the truth about what man-made radiation does. And I'm not going to mention them names because I have great respect for them. I learned so much from them. But with Dr. Yuri Bandashevsky, he was boots on the ground. He was right there at the outset of Chernobyl. And he demonstrated amongst the victims of the fallout from Chernobyl that there were things you utilize that reduce the radiation exponentially. That so much so that they had programs in France, and I don't know if they had one in the UK, but definitely in France, where they would bring the children from the Chernobyl exclusion zone or right beyond that, where then their rad levels, when they did the testing, precipitously dropped. And when they were eating certain foods as opposed to other ones, their rad levels precipitously dropped. That is all the proof we need. I'm not saying that radiation is like as easy as taking some X-Lax and you just poop it out. Hell no, it's very detailed. It's very specific. But that's why we need all of us screaming about this so we could be doing testing on a massive level so that we could duplicate what Dr. Bandashevsky found and improve it even more. Maybe there's certain things in certain foods we could isolate that we, like even for you, Sister Constance, organic apple pectin was found to be the one remedy that children could ingest and it wouldn't interfere with the growth cycle of every other mineral and vitamin in their body. There are certain protocols that if you utilize them with children, they wind up stymieing their growth because they take everything out. And you want it with children, you want it selective, right? So the thing I'm going to tell you, you got to do this. You got to do this is go get this book, Furnace of Affliction, Healing Radiation Damage to the Human Body, because there's so much detail with all of this that there's no way I can just, if I would have just sit here and read like 5 pages, everybody would be gone. But it's got detailed remedies for every different stage of this contamination. I don't know how effective any of this is going to be, but as long as the world is acting like there's nothing going on, why is Iran picking California for the drone bombing? Because of what I've been saying for years. There's a covert evacuation process going on in Cali and on the whole West Coast, because the things happening there are the tip of the beginning of all the lunacy we've seen around here, where California, you don't know how to get rid of the homeless, but when Xi Jinping came over, Gavin Newsom wiped those homeless people out of the way. And when she was walking them streets, they were clean enough to eat off. But all of a sudden, boom, as soon as he's gone, they're back again. They're defecating here, shooting up drugs over there. I'm not saying, I have great respect and I commiserate, I not commiserate, but I empathize for the homeless, because I've had my own stint as a grown woman, a single mother, with homelessness. So I feel for them. I'm just, because the whole situation is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I wind up just being a little bit abrasive. So forgive me for my abrasiveness. It's, I'm sure, understandable. It's understandable for me. And nobody could be doing this if what everybody in the whole world thinks of you was what you went by. Because otherwise I would have stopped a long time ago. I've had so many trolls and so many little, folks trying to do things to get me all frustrated and upset and all the rest. And I'm just like, sorry. Wrong, sister. I ain't the one. Okay. I've been through a lot that has done nothing but made me stronger, made me more patient, more loving, more curious about why is it like this? Right? So that's what I'm saying. This book right here, that's what you need. And when you buy that book, you are helping me to be more effective. If I'm going to be the one, I need to be hella effective. Do not send your warriors out on the battlefield with not a daggone defensive weapon at all. Okay? And I say defensive because I'm not about hurting anybody. I'm pro-black. Ooh, goodness gracious. But that doesn't mean that then you would, I said it before, when you have a race and your child's in the race, rooting for your child to win does not mean you're going to go out and trip all the other contestants. That's stupid. Whiteism is a predatory mindset. It is a predator mimic mindset. So that they've given racism, literally racism, a bad name. Real diversity is self-perpetuating. Everybody mishmashed together so that nobody can tell what race anybody is anymore. That sounds like the dullest damn planet I've ever heard of. There's nothing wrong with each individual race of people, each individual nation feeling proud of who they are and wanting to reproduce themselves. So no, I am not violent. I just ain't going by the whiteism, okey doke propaganda of stuff. Whoa, out of many comes one. Which one? Which one you think they mean with Trump after swearing he was going to make a treaty with Iran, doing something that completely goes against the Geneva Conventions, completely goes against morality, and then he's bombing Iran with Israel. Right? I'm just saying, the pictures I've seen of Trump in Shabbat and kissing the Wailing Wall and all the rest of it, and the way he was, just pushing Netanyahu's seat in so demurely. And then he did it again with somebody else so that he could deflect from even the MAGA who was saying, yo, what's up with that dude? All of this stuff. This is just, it's madness. It's madness. And it all goes with the radiation. So let me go on over to the Oh, you are so welcome, Constance. I do share tidbits, especially since the organic apple pectin, certain things like that, and also getting foods with manganese. Those are things that when I wrote this, I know about. So I'm often repeating those because my primary goal is your life and your children's lives. Okay? So that's that. Let's get on over to the different things. Oh yeah, let me get on over to that. Here it is right here. VLC. Oops, I gotta share my screen. Oh wait, no, that's not. Oh, I do that. Okay, here we go. And all right. This was on Daily Mail. Let me expand it so you can see. This was also before they had a lineup of just naked people on the side. But I don't want to play the volume or anything, but I just wanted to show the headline. And this was, when was this? This is 2024. So it's 2 years ago, January. Record 2 million Americans will get cancer this year amid epidemic in young people. Use our map to see states where diagnoses are most common. These people are not very intelligent. We have this, false assumption that we're the dumb ones and they're not. I'm not saying that white people are dumb. I'm saying that they're desperate right now. They ordinarily are very enterprising. There's lots of white people who do extraordinary things. I wish they could dispense with lying and genociding and all of those things that just leave them in this desperate friggin' strait they're in right now, so they could even learn, well, what's actually lovable about you? Because in order to love yourself, you have to be lovable. If you're a despicable demon, demons don't like demons. They don't even trust themselves, their own. Okay? And so when they say in 2024 that there's going to be a record outbreak, this is because they knew everybody was going to now start blaming the jab. And that's when they wanted to announce it. But when you go to the map that they have here, number of new cancers in 2024, they have the most cancers over in California, the place that Iran threatened to bomb. Because, Gavin Newsom, he's a real power broker. Really? This is here. And I'm sure over here there were things going on, but I'm just saying California is kind of sticking out there and it's real long. And bam, all that radiation from Fukushima went right on over there. And when you look at Texas and Florida, radiation, according to Dr. Ernest Sternglass, who was a nuclear physicist, it's attracted heavily to bodies of water. So you'll see certain discrepancies, and this was according to his measurements. He did vast analytical, just investigations. He went to the different state agencies and got all their data. And then after he put it together with, he noticed that the greatest amounts of cancers and all the other things that radiation causes, they were in the greatest numbers right next to nuclear facilities, not right next to ordinary pollution emitting plants, not right next to electrical substations like the San Francisco, I forget his football team, is having a lot of injuries. Athletes are going to be more susceptible to radiation. They're in San Francisco. And they're blaming the electrical substation. Okay? This substation's all over the place. So Sternglass said, no, it was only right near the nuclear facilities. Well, this right here was hammered by Fukushima. That's why Iran is threatening California, because they secretly, and I don't even know if Iran will actually bomb. I don't want bombing. There was a brother who, he might have been disappointed with me. The last share I did, I'm going to speak my truth. And I don't like war because it is a chaos that only encourages more war and removes people's ability to, oh, what do I do here? I'm trying to get out of this daggone thing here. Oh, right there. Here we go. VLC Media. I can quit this because I've proven my point right there. It brings more war. Imperialism encourages imperialism. And I'm looking at it. I don't want to be so angry at the white man that I don't think straight. Because, and I'm not saying the brothers are not thinking straight, but they got us in a reactionary mode. And that's where they want to keep us. That's why they had Obama speaking at Jesse Jackson's funeral. And in the back was just an audience of Black women, beautiful elder sisters, right? But they know that they're going to emote with everything that he said, that racist thing that Trump did, that I'm sure he did according to script, because it is meant to be reverse psychology to get us back to desperation so that we're like, oh, thank goodness for Obama. I remember Obama getting up saying, oh, well, I'm not the president of Black people. Remember? Okay? I remember him when that brother, or not, it wasn't even a brother. I don't know if it was Skip Gates, all right, from Harvard, the Black professor who wrote Africana. And he got locked out of his house, or it might have been somebody else or whatever. And there was a police officer, and he invited him to the White House for beer. And that was it. That was it. Right? Now all of a sudden he's like, oh, it's like, look, I'm Black just like you. No, you're not. If you're not going to help us perpetuate ourselves, which means we must be independent, we must be capable of creating our own narrative, legislating our own jurisdictions, that's the level that will perpetuate us, because otherwise it's nonstop genocide. Okay? So with, I lost my train of thought there. I was trying to get it back, but it just went boom by. But let's see what you're saying here, Sister Cons. Oh, it's my brother, Yappo Yappa. That's a brilliant brother. He did every single cover of my book. Okay, and they're absolutely brilliant. So let's see what you're saying, Constance. Radiation plus COVID virus just going wild is upping the cancer. COVID ain't causing no cancers, love. Forgive me, I'm gonna be frank. This is the time to just put it where it is. It's not COVID. COVID doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's an algorithm. All right. That's why suddenly the flu numbers dropped. They disappeared because they were using the COVID numbers. And now they're saying flu's back. Oh, how magical. Because for a little while, I was like, hey, man, the white man done cured the flu. Have you ever heard of the flu causing cancer? No, because that's not what it does. Right? It's a respiratory infection. If you're eating healthy, you good. You good. Right? I had a little touch of something that was a bit, when I get a little touch of something, literally it's a touch. I get a scratchy throat, might get some, phlegm in my lungs. I got a cough, but I don't get laid out like that anymore because I eat so extraordinarily healthy that I had to get to step by step. It would drive a lot of people crazy if overnight they tried to eat like me. Oh my God, they would drive them crazy. Okay. So that's all. It's an algorithm. I could go more into it, but I didn't do all of my little tabs for the COVID thing. But trust and believe, there's no such thing. That's why they took a patent out on it, because it's simply an algorithm. And was it Eustace Mullins, or was it Carrie Mullins? I think it was Eustace Mullins who um, invented the PCR test. He said he never put it together to detect viruses. And there's a whole other thing about what exactly is a virus. It's supposed to be a dead particle just floating around in your body. There's so much dead stuff floating around in our bodies. If your body knows what to do with it, it's no problem. But what they did with the PCR test is they cycled it up so that you got this same little sample, and they just like swirled it and ripped it apart so that if you had breathed in pet dander, it would say, oh, yeah, that's positive. The whole thing was ruse, just like for this war. I'm not saying real people aren't dying. They don't mind killing people. Matter of fact, that's the end goal, like the Georgia Guidestones said. But I'm just saying, these nation states, they're working together. Let's see now. What? No big arch? Come on, those birds. I'm not exactly sure. I just watched a whole thing about burgers. It is one of the doom scrolling sisters that I really enjoy her channel. She has such a lively personality. Was it Simone or something? I don't remember the name of her channel completely, but she was just talking about the CEOs having these little battles over whose burger is better. I haven't eaten a burger in, I don't know, like maybe 30, maybe even more, 40 years. I haven't eaten any, definitely not fast food. I'm just in case anybody doesn't know, because I've had a couple of new subscribers, and that's always very wonderful to see. I welcome you very much. But yeah, I'm an organic, conscious vegan, which means you could be a junk food vegan and you still be sick as hell. Okay. I don't do it that way. I make sure I know about the different nutrients, what kind of balance I need. Sometimes I mess up. I messed up with the levels of calcium because I stepped into old age and I was taking too much calcium for an old lady, and that had an effect. But I figured it out real quick. I was like, wait, because I was looking. I was like, okay, why is my knee doing this? And then I found out like it may be fast, but it sure ain't food. That's for daggone sure. And so, yeah, I just know that ways to deal with infections, contagions, illnesses, so that it's not a catastrophic issue. I never want to say like, I got it like that. I'm healthy all the time, because you never know, I'm sure I'm taking in radiation too. I try to do my best to get it out. I know how to make sure it doesn't stick around. Right. But there's all like colon cancers are up, pancreatic. I mean, you got to know how to get it out. And most people don't. Most people don't. We're caught up in the traditions of food, of meals that we've known since childhood. And that's just not going to cut it. Even our great grandparents would be succumbing to the scourge that radiation is in the human body, in any body. Right. And yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So let's go on over to the next thing I have up here, which is Iran formulate plan to attack California with drones in case of war. I mean, I don't need to go over this too much. This is some Star Trek stuff to me, where you don't send pilots who there's no skin in the game, no risk whatsoever. You just send a damn drone. What an awful, awful way to kill large populations of people. This is just well, I was talking about the brother who he said, well, but Iran is, given a hammering to the US and Israel. If it weren't done through war, if it were done through truth, where these guys would say, what's really going on. Then I would know that they were genuine. I look at Iran and I'm like, these are brown Arabs, brown Muslims. I respect that faith they have. I haven't seen it necessarily implicated or, not indoctrinated, just installed, except for maybe Khomeini. He did that to a certain degree, where everybody had a home. That's a good thing. But there's a lot of usury, still borrowing money that goes completely against the Quran. You're supposed to, if you want to help your neighbor, it's supposed to be a communal benefit, not where you're just lining your pockets. So with Arab Muslims, I know they don't like Black people. That's more of that, like, just tantalization, that reverse psychology, where they're going to get us so, like, hemmed in, feeling as if, oh my goodness, we'll never get away from how much white people hate us. And then they're just going to set us up, like with the BAFTA awards, where they set the Tourette's guy right behind the microphone. And he was a famous guy. It wasn't like it was an accident at all. And so then Jesse Jackson naturally dies. The devil's going to take advantage of whatever opportunity he can. And then you got the two people that Trump did a video. Oh, Michelle wasn't there. Maybe she was upset because she knew that the whole thing was such a setup, and she doesn't want to deal with the energy that would come from acting like you are honoring the passing of someone and you're really not. But her husband, he has no morals whatsoever, in my full firm conclusion. That man, I would never call Obama a brother. That man, I would believe, is so pulled in by the forces of evil doing, by the nothingness itself, he could never extricate himself. It would require a level of honesty that he just doesn't have the balls to handle. So there he is, in front of all these Black sisters who, as soon as he started mentioning Trump and the racist things he was doing, they were so just emotive, wonderfully so. I don't want that to change, but the devil takes advantage of anything you got. And so the script was, Obama's our rescue. The man who is not the president of Black people is suddenly our rescue, who, when you do the research, according to what the research says, he on the down low, okay? According to and he even in the paper said, oh yeah, I've been attracted to men, okay? That's our leader? All of a sudden, just because Trump insulted him? Stop, okay? And then they had Kamala up there too, and she ain't even Black. She ain't even Black. And we know from her record, she don't like us. She don't like us. Ooh, beloved brother Ali Hammond, total vegan, fruits and vegetables only. Yes, sir. That's right. No cheese, no milk, none of that. Right? But yeah, that's what's going on with Iran, where they got Iran, doing all this bombing, rightfully so. That's their land. The U.S. attacked them first. Israel attacked them first. They have a right to do what they're doing. But what's that got to do with Black us? Is Iran pro-Black? Hell no. Hey? And now they're threatening to drone, specifically California. They didn't say just in the U.S. They said California. I conclude why? Because they want to scare enough people who have the financial ability to get the hell out of there, while the U.S. leaves all of regular and struggling us. And lately, there's a lot more of us struggling right there in that radioactive hell, where I've done share after share. I did one about the radioactive mud, where they had a mud run. And everybody got sick right after it, because they were out in not the wilderness, but they were out in the hinterland or whatever, running through the mud, literally. white folks, they love that stuff. I'm not saying they want to cover black us, but I'm just like, nah, that's all right. I love running, but give me some, a park or something, not friggin' mud. Especially not in California. But I'm just saying in terms of the fake out that they do with us so that we're in the eye of the storm out there. In the meantime, it's like, come on, rich white people, let's have all these fires where you are so we can talk you out of there. And ain't nobody building any more houses in, I forget what place where it just burned and it was just gigantic. And those were not the rich white people out there, but they were like the production crew and ordinary workers. And there were black people there too, but it was overwhelmingly white and Hispanic, right? And then they have all these incentives for black people to go over there where it's the Crown Act. We're no longer going to discriminate against black people in the natural area over here in California, the place where they have been racist towards us more than any of. Like they're doing all of these reparations promises over there, when at the same time, they never had slavery over there. So when you see things like that, you put the pieces together because they're not going to confess. Devil ain't ever going to confess. You got to look at the pattern. You got to even go back and look at all my shares from the ones that are, on this channel, but they go back several years now. And you see that it's not because ain't no like light beaming over my head or anybody saying anything special. It's simply, I'm done with the devil, done for good. And so with the brother who was saying, but the Iran is kicking their butts, I don't want them just to be pushed to their best, most formidable defensive action, which is war. War. They never stop warring because they win at war every time. I simply want us to separate, to take no sides other than morality. Like definitely, I'm not going to look at the history of Trump and his pedophilia and say, oh, well, I can't say anything against that. Oh, hell yeah. You never, ever, ever take advantage of children. And the human mind isn't fully developed until about the age of 21. Right? So what I'm here just to share is that. Let me go on to the next thing I have up here. Let's see. Leaked U.S. intel undermines Trump's claim Iran war is won. Yeah, he came out saying that he won it. As new Ayatollah issues chilling threat to American troops. Hold on, I think. Let's do this. Yeah, that's good. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's really good. Okay. Yeah. So this is like, I realize they're studying the different popular subjects on social media where people will have these battles. Even Brother Yapo and I used to do it just for the fun of it. And he had suggested maybe we could, like do a funny one about the toilet tissue, which direction you hang the toilet tissue on. And he's always been wrong about that. But anyway, but I didn't feel comfortable that way because that's just not the way that I am. And I'm not saying it's a bad or good or anything. I'm just saying that's, I'm I don't know. I'm just kind of girly. And so I don't do stuff like that. But in joking, we were having a wonderful time about it. So I think, though, when it comes to the roasting, that these guys are studying it, like with the burger CEOs who on TikTok are, doing this back and forth. And I look and I'm like, they're probably working together because across the board, Fast food restaurants sales are plummeting. People don't want to eat poison like that anymore. Good for you. Good for you. Right? But I'm just saying, in terms of like, these guys are going to go at it like they're in a friggin' boxing ring. And there are people whose lives are at stake, where they are minimizing the preciousness of life. These are supposed to be the heads of civilization, the vaulted non-Black people. And you, what? You're going to go and do these back and forth, slights and insults? And look, I could blow up a nuclear bomb, as Israel keeps on threatening, right? This is childish with devilish stakes and epic tragedy. I don't know how people can contemplate hurting other beings and it doesn't hurt you. If that's not your response, you do not deserve to be the head of a friggin' bathroom, let alone of entire countries filled with beautiful people. Right? So, my nose. Let's go on over to the next one. Yeah, Iran plotting drone attack on California as retaliation for the war. Terrifying FBI alert reveals. And I'm just like I said, California? Really? Why? And here, I just want to, oh, right. I'm so glad I went there because there is, where is it? Come on now. Do I have it? Let's see. Oops. Sorry, I'm taking so long here. I know where I have to go to do that. Oh, that was my thumbnail that I put together. Let's get rid of, let's go on over here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And then, there we go. There is a channel that I get information from. I can't say I enjoy them, but I want that information. And it is The China Show. These guys to me are definitely, I can't say he is as racist as this one here. But yeah, in my firm conclusion, he's so racist, but he's very slick about it. And I ain't gonna get into the details. But anyway, this came up on my subscription scroll. And I was like, China using mega vacuum to suck up all sea life. The whales have nothing to eat. I was almost going to just do a share about this one all by itself because oh my goodness gracious. Let me just come back over here. And just, oh, wait, let me go on over to the second photo because I do want that. Let's see now. Where is it? China 4. Okay, this is me in the shadows. I took a photo or I captured it or whatever because I noticed that immediately after I caught this, the image disappeared completely because I have lots of different devices like most people. And so I went on other ones because I was trying to do a screen capture and that's not what came up at all. What came up instead, let's see now. Let's go over here and go to the China Show. Here we go. The China. No. China Show. There we go. All right. Right. This is it. This is the same one. And if I type in that title, it goes right on over to here. So they changed it. And I don't know if they changed. I don't want to accuse anybody of anything that they, weren't doing themselves. But I was just like, why in the world did they change it from China using mega vacuum to suck up all sea life And then when I through this, I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was scrolling through to try to find their uh, explanation because I saw a little bit of it where they just showed some regular fishing boats, like about four of them side by side going through the Pacific Ocean. And I was like, wow, this is how desperate these people are to find explanations for the epic die off of life in the Pacific Ocean. That wouldn't be so unreasonable if it weren't for the fact that the Atlantic is dying now too. So if China, well, how big is the freaking Pacific Ocean? It's the largest contiguous feature on the entire planet. And China, I know China's got ships and they eat an awful lot of seafood, but why would they be trolling the entirety of the Pacific Ocean, killing everything, vacuuming everything up? And the whales can't find anything to eat. Not that they've killed all the whales by harpooning them. I could believe that better, but they've sucked up all the food. Not that the radiation has just killed all the phytoplankton, which provide the overwhelming majority of oxygen on our planet and are the food for the many species of whales. There are other ones, killer whales. Okay. I don't know if orcas are a form of whales or no, orcas are killer whales. But there's so many things that the radiation doesn't stand still. And so this, where they're trying to alkalinize the water using sodium hydroxide, that's because radiation's acidic. That's why you have so many algae blooms, because the level of oxygen is being sucked out of the water. And the creatures that emit the oxygen, they're going. So they're desperate. They're like, how do we change that? And so where are they pouring this? Here, Gulf of Maine. Gulf of Maine. That's over on the Atlantic. And I've done shares 5 years ago about the die-off of the North Atlantic whales. And I put out all the data so you could see that radiation doesn't stay in one place. They found that with Chelyabinsk, which was one of the first nuclear accidents that happened in Russia. There's so many things that are, oh my God, dripping in Hanford, what they did, where they just released radiation one day just for a test, just to see what would happen. And then there's so much. These people cannot be in charge of the only planet we have. And it is up to Black us who know these devils better than anybody else on the planet. We don't worship them like that. Not anymore. And that's part of the point. That's part of the point of why they're like doing all their best with like a Cynthia G, a Tommy Sotomayor, red pill, blue pill, to get us to keep thinking we're the worst people on the planet, when Black us, there is an awakening going on with us where we're done, we're tired, okay? We're like, nah, dudes. And they know that. That's why they got to send in Obama and Kamala. They can't even have Black people addressing us anymore because they're like, oh, no. That makes them proud of themselves. Right? We were even proud of Obama. I would actually attribute to that friggin' super groveling. He doesn't qualify as a Procyon loader because to me, he ain't Black. He done given up he's a biracial. So biracials aren't Black. Okay. So yeah, they're like trying their best to get us to once again be as downtrodden as they once had us. And that's not this day and age. That's not this time. This is the time when we wake up, when the dry bones rise. Okay? So yeah, they wouldn't be doing this over here if China, what would China be vacuuming up over here? So there's the whales are going over here too. All the sharks coming closer to the shore because they're not finding any food. And whereas about 10 years ago, maybe even close to 8 years ago, the Atlantic was back on the rebound because especially over on the eastern coast of the United States, they enacted a different laws so that they couldn't pollute the waters as much as they had been. And that reminds me, I'd shared a story about how the Maine lobster are just decimated. They're just, the numbers are in free fall. And they were blaming overfishing. But these laws are on the books. They're not allowed to overfish. Even regular fishermen, you know, when you go fishing, I used to go fishing with my dad. He's like, no, you got to throw that one back. It's too small. And they'll have warnings. This particular portion of the river, no fishing here. This lake is off, you know, you can't go there to fish. So you're going to tell me all of a sudden for 4 straight years they were overfishing lobster and they didn't know? Hell no. That's the radiation. Okay? You just got to put the facts together and know the science is never going to change when it comes to man-made radioactive hell. It's never going to change. It does not bend to the demands of whiteism, even with their SMR, small modular reactors. And they want to show it so cute. Look at the little tiny fuel rod. Isn't that wonderful? Hell no. Okay? You cannot put something so volatile between open cavity and on the other side of the metal encasement, there's going to be human life. And a little thin piece of steel is going to tell those radioactive isotopes, oh, just stay put. You know, there's some nice white people out here. We don't want to, you know, like irradiate them and then escape and go other places too. No, these people are in a full on graft and corruption, just hemorrhage. They don't give a damn anymore. They're lying every way they can. I mean, I've heard so many lies about what Trump is doing in Iran. It's just ridiculous. Right? So in order for them to get away with the new imperialism, they have to get us 100% on board for the Kamala Harrises and the Barack Obamas of the world and the, you know, Boule and the frats and the Soros, who, I'm sorry, you are actually black, but you're traitors because you are not confessing. I don't blame you for being fooled when you join these organizations. I might have been fooled. When I was in college, I had my boyfriend at the time, wonderful, wonderful brother. He had joined a frat. I don't even want to say which one. And, you know, the sisters of his fraternity, because they would have like out leg of it that would be like the women who would pledge on their side. And they were like, oh, you should pledge because, you know, he's in this. And I was like, no, that's all right. My nature is not to like having folks over me telling me what to do. I'm just that way. That's why I don't join stuff like in big groups, because I kind of am like, okay, I need to just get to work doing what I do. And I never know. Stuff will just come up and I'm like, I gotta do that. Right? So yeah, I'm not mad at them for joining, but now that you know, and I know some of them, because when YouTube used to show you who was subscribed to your channel, and even if they were big, huge channels, I would see some of them subscribe to me. And I would say, you know what I'm talking about. And they don't say a word. They don't say a word. That's so cowardly. So yeah, those aren't our leaders. Those people aren't our leaders, right? Next thing we got here. That was it. Okay, let's see. No copyright. What's this? Oh, that was so I could have something. And what was this? Okay, and that was it. All right, let's see what I got. Oh, and this. Oh my goodness, I do believe I'm finished. Whoa, that is so cool. Yay, and it's only 1 hour long. Let's see what you're saying up here, Brother Yapo. Let's see. Apologies for John Davidson say Tourette's caused him to say the N-word. Ironically, they are the ones diminishing him. How? They are implying he is just helpless. He has zero control of himself. That's what they will say, but I agreed with Brother Truth Seeker was saying, how are you going to have the thought to say something unless you already had the thought? How is it impulsive that you're going to just blurt it out unless it's boiling under the surface already? And that's what you really want to say. And so I'm not even mad at John Davidson, even though I don't know how much he collaborated with it. But it's obvious it wasn't just him. It was the system itself. It was whoever was running the BAFTA awards. And you don't see them doing that to Chinese people. You would think the way that the UK really needs to get the Chinese out of their country and the things that China's doing, I'll get to that. But you don't see them putting Chinese people up there and saying, what, they got 1 or 2 insulting words? With us, legions of insulting things they say about us all the time. I don't see any other race of people that are non-white that are getting the just pummeling that they hope that they're giving us. At this point in time, it's like, I'm sorry, dude, there's nothing you can call us. Nothing that will outdo who you actually are. Nothing. So when I hear them saying that, they can't say it. They still can't say it until we have control over our own jurisdictions as a contiguous, separate nation of people. They have to just know. They know we're not their people. We're not their people. Even when there's a black president, Obama's a final proof. He bows down to the whiteism. I'm not the president of Black America. I'll never forget that. Then what the hell did I vote for you for? First time, second time, no, I wasn't that dumb. Actually, after his, speech he gave at his inaugural address, I was like, what the hell? What did he say? I have never heard a speech done by an actual respectable black leader. I've never heard anything Malcolm X said that didn't make perfect sense. I've never heard anything that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that didn't make perfect sense. I have never heard anything that Minister Farrakhan says, and he could go on for hours. At least he used to. I hope he's doing well. I never heard anything that man said that didn't make perfect sense. You had to listen deeply, because sometimes he would be going, I'm going over here, I'm going over here. I never heard anything that Dr. Africa, that Baba Steve Coakley said, that my king, Dr. She, ever said that didn't make perfect sense. But at that inaugural address, I was like, what? That's when you know the okie doke is in. Okay? Because our condition ain't no mystery. Ain't no complexity. We need our own nation. It's that simple. Okay. So let's see what you're saying. Let's see. As if you could say anything of his own free will, then blame it on his condition. Over. That has been scientifically proven. The TP goes. You funny. Yeah, no. Well, whose science you going by, brother? Whose science you going by? All right, because I'm not just using one sheet of toilet tissue that I need to worry about the one that's coming down from the bottom. I'm going to roll it up, it's more hygienic. So I think that's but I'm not saying anything, just move on from here, right? Let's see now. When it comes to fast food, allow me to quote Shakespeare. That's nasty, right? And you have Gates out here working to block the sun. Exactly. Look at these dudes. stop. Sun climate change, been working on it for years. Yeah, I haven't found the data completely, but I remember I saw it back when I didn't know I needed to screen capture and save everything, that the original blocking of the sun was because of the bomb testing in the Midwest. You know, like they killed John Wayne with all of the residue from the bomb testing. It was so hot. It was changing the weather in ways that were affecting the farmers. So they were like, well, you know, crop dusters, we'll just dust it with something that'll seed the clouds and bring the temperature down. So the radiation's gone globally. And that's why they're doing all of that chemtrailing. It's not because they want to block the sun. They do actually, but at the same time, it's more because the planet itself is getting too hot. When I showed the, let's see now, where are you? There you go, Maris Map. Are you still gonna open up for me? I hope so. Let's see. Take a little while. Nope. There we go. Yeah, okay. All right. Come on now. Come on. You could do it. You did it. Okay. For people who haven't seen this Maris map, this is a just listing of every single test for radioactive isotopes they've conducted on the entire planet. Well, there's a lot of, let's see now, they used to have it so you could, oh, okay, samples, there we go, samples 37 and samples 8. You could learn a lot from this daggone map, but this is the, you know, Arctic region. They've done an awful lot of tests up here because the radiation will tend to congregate there. And that makes this place hot. That's the reason why our weather is absolutely insane, because it is melting the polar ice caps, but it's not because of our cars. It's because the melting icebergs are like, and I said it, but it's good, it works. When you put ice cubes in your drink, it cools the liquid down, but it doesn't refreeze the ice cubes. So it's the volatility of all this cold air is changing the weather patterns in not just a uniform fashion, but in a crazy, just rope looping, like when you're stirring another liquid into another liquid of another color, and it doesn't all just fuse instantly. There's little trails that, you know, will take a little while before it's stirring. It all makes it kind of one color. Well, that's what's happening with all of this. So that we had insane tornadoes and just cold weather that is unprecedented. Will get worse because they're not really doing anything to stop this, including shutting down all nuclear facilities, which is still complicated because when you shut down a nuclear facility, you still have to maintain it because you've already released all the isotopes that cause this. There's so many lies. It's crazy. And they'll say, oh, but this is mostly tritium. That's just, you know, little radioactive water. Is, you know, a beta emitter. No big deal. If it's in your body, it's a gigantic big deal. Think about having a fever. You have a fever just a couple degrees high, and you are laid out. So to have tritium in our environment that's radioactive is changing everything. And that's not even the most volatile. And of these samples, they go over all the different things. And when you look and you see the lines going across the waters, that doesn't mean that there's no radiation in the other areas. It just means that's what they could afford to, you know, take samples. We're going to hire a ship. They're going to go this way and that way and so on and so forth. And no, they're not going to test every single, you know, square. I don't know when you're measuring water. We're not going to test every square knot of water out there, every metric cube, every metric liter, I guess, of water that's out there. right? So they'll just do selective areas, and like over here, this is Japan underneath all of this. They were out here big time because of Fukushima, right? And I noticed that this is how I know they do listen to my shares epically. You'll notice there's not as many samples over here, and the level of radiation is a little bit less than the Antarctic region. The next day, almost, really, literally, that I had analyzed that, an article, and I do believe, don't want to say specifically, but I'm sure it was in Zero Hedge, there were people coming out saying, see, climate change isn't real because look, down here in the Antarctic, it isn't getting as warm as up in the Arctic, right? But they don't say a damn word about Fukushima. Okay, so yeah, thank you for your comments, brother Yapo. I don't even know how I got to that subject, but let's see now. Oh, the warming, right? The dimming of the sun. I have no politicians, corporations, or mainstream. I believe no, exactly none. I've determined that if they are talking, they are lying indeed. And let's see what you're saying, Sister Constance. White people culture is racist. So of course a white man would say something racist with or without a disability. That's right. I'm disabled and have to ask for accommodations. He didn't ask for them because he doesn't care. Thank you very much, Queen. Exactly. He would be collaborating with all of that, right? And Brother Yapo, they've been talking about the radiation in 50s movies. You gave me those links to those movies where they confess they know all of this. Ain't nothing I said that they haven't said themselves before. Right? And even cartoons. And that Twilight Zone episode had an epic monologue. Exactly. Exactly. What you drink in your milk today, Harvey? Little strontium 90? Come on now. All right. I think I'm done. I could get on out of here, especially since it's now 1 hour and 16 minutes. I love you, family. Have no doubt you are worth the very best. I don't know who lied to us, but woo, thank heaven we are waking up and snapping out of it because, goodness gracious. So let me repeat, I need your help. I am not kidding. I'm just like all the rest of us where this squeeze is just like, woo, it's really choking us. Oh, I want to show my little thing here. I did this when I was making my jewelry. I don't make it anymore. I'm not selling it or anything. I just, have fun. But this is just to say that the Black people, but this was also for the Black man. He is king, but we have been jailed. And the force of our just disagreement and protests over all of that is bending the bars, sending our just whole vibrational energy out, and thereby one day we will be done and over with being in anybody's cages whatsoever. So yeah, I love this piece. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Go to 25,000 Year Cycle. This is the only book of its kind on the whole planet, not because it's written for just Black us, which it is, but because it has a collection of the remedies in a tour de force explanation that covers the where, the when, the why, the how, even things that you would consider, because you could do research, and if it's sort of precursory, you might find the lies. I did so much investigation that I found the truth behind the lies so that I could share that with you, right? Because there's certain things they recommend, like resveratrol. That ain't good for Black people. That ain't good for Black people, right? And you're going to find those in this book. You can go to 25000yearcycle.org and get this copy right here for $35 or the ebook for $25. I recommend this copy. This is mine. That's why it's a little bent, because I actually read it. But yours pristine, never read by anybody, never even opened, okay? And, or you could go to Amazon and get the book there. Or better yet, don't get the book there because it's $50 over there. Because when you get it from Amazon, they take a big old cut, right? And I'm regular folk like you. I'm trying my best to do something that is thoroughly shadow banned. When this came out, Brother Yapo came and told me, where's your book? Because they had hidden it in the pornography section, right? So I'm doing this because I love you. I am surely talented enough to do a whole bunch of silly stuff that would be more agreeable to the censors, right? But I don't. I haven't changed my subject matter, and I never will. Because until enough of us know about this so that I almost can't even get out my front door because there'll be people standing there saying, tell us more. You know, I'm not trying to big up myself. I'm just saying in terms of that's the level of outrage we have a right to have. When you kill an ocean, Iran's fighting over, them attacking them. Yes, indeed. But they're attacking our ability to have future generations. How upset should we be? You're taking away our oxygen by killing the oceans. How upset should we be? Right? I'm not saying I do not advocate violence, not at all. That would play into their hands. They can't wait for that. They love that. Right? I'm saying just go and tell your neighbors, tell your friends, subscribe, because that also assists me. Right? Hit like. Leave comments. I love your comments. I think people I think they shadow ban, like Brother Yapa. We've noticed that you if I say anything on another Black channel, pretty much ain't nobody gonna see it. Nobody. All right. But at the same time, your comments are just so thrilling for me. I love engaging with your family. Even if you have a question that you're like, I don't know, I might make her mad. I have learned patience because of you. Because I think to myself at the time when I first got on social media and I just get mad. Oh, what? You said what? That then I wind up losing people. And that's not what I want to do. I want to be here to rescue as many as I can, even those I can't stand. We could fight another day. I'd rather be on a planet filled with people with all kinds of conversations possible than to be on one where there's just nobody. Even if everybody was a troll, at least we could work it out. I wouldn't be having fun, but we could work it out, right? So yeah, go on over to 25,000 year cycle. I also have to thank, oh my goodness, trying not to have stuff fall all over the place. Sister C, you bought my soap. You bought a set of the soap, the New Black, Nzinga, and the Sil Bar. That's wonderful. I'm not going to explain again right here what each one does, but those are the ingredients I put in there, the only ingredients I put in there. Okay. And so I thank you for that so much. Go get your clean on. Okay. Because this soap is so potent and so wonderful and moisturizing. What it is it doesn't strip your skin. I have the formula perfected so that there's a balance where it's I give you a nice thick bar, but it's a nice solid bar, but at the same time, it won't strip your skin because I don't have too much lye in it as I make it. Don't get worried, because when Black people make stuff, you tend to automatically figure that it can't work like, Dove soap. It works better. Dove will just fall to pieces and liquidate in the soap dish within like a couple days. My soap, this sucker's lasting, okay? And it's not going to strip your skin bare. Okay, so with the lye, there's a process called saponification that renders all of the lye into a whole new chemical balance that is soap. That's just soap, okay? All right. So, oh, thank you very. Yes, this is not a YouTube education. She knows what she's. Oh, thank you, brother. And for any document people out there, my sister has been researching this for over a decade. In a college, she would have a PhD by now. Full stop. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate that very much. All right. You are amazing. Never doubt that. All right. We are incredible because we're Black, not despite it. Okay. All right. Straight Black Pride is our ownership of everything. I love you. And I have one more video to upload tomorrow, and then it's 2 weeks again so that I can keep on writing my novel, which I'm not even going to talk about because it's too good to talk about. But all the characters are so rich. I actually can't wait to write it more because I'm enjoying the writing process, which is incredible. Brother Yapo knows. He asked me, do you like writing? I'm like, no, I can't stand it. I hate this stuff. But no, this is so exciting. These characters are just, oh. Okay, so that's it. I'm done. I love you. Peace and blessings, everyone. Let me get out of here. Oh, there we go. All right.